Hey guys, thanks for watching Digging Deep, and we are back in the shop again today. As you can see, this is something a little abnormal here. This is Onan 4500 watt generator, I believe. I believe it's got an output for 120 volt at 33.3 amps, I believe. This customer dropped this off to me wanting the oil leak fixed, and after he brought it by and I seen how it looked, I thought, I'm not going to work on this, but I changed my mind and thought about it, and, as we were kind of talking, because this guy's an auto mechanic, it is booming, so he could potentially throw me business my way. So that's why I took this on. It's going to be the first RV style generator I've ever worked on or put hands on for sure. I've worked on these style engines, but not Onan for sure, and not a RV generator. I've already had my battery box hooked up and it's fired up and ran. We know that because he already said it runs good, and it does. I got a little oil spewing out the air filter and exhaust from tilting it up. Took a little bit to get it running, but I got it running here. We may have to clean the carb out for him and throw a filter on it for him for tipping it over like that, but I didn't have any help, so it was a bear getting it on this bench. Long story short, like I said, we're going to dive into this thing and fix the oil leak for him. I have not even looked up parts or anything for this yet. I did find a manual on it. No service manual yet, but I'm sure if I found a manual, I should be able to find a service manual. Hopefully I won't have to purchase one, but I'm hoping I can get one online. I guess I'll do a live start for you real quick. You guys can hear it run, and then we're going to dive into finding this oil leak. I still got oil coming out the air filter a little bit here, but I just had it running. But yeah, so hopefully it's not too much of a pain, too labor intensive. But these are nice generators, and they're not cheap. Definitely not cheap generators. So I kind of tried to get in there and look where the oil leak was coming from, and they did have gasket maker right around the oil drain bolt. So I don't know what's up with that. Maybe it's something that simple, and I'm going to look very closely. But it is a bear to move around. So we're going to, if anything, I think unbolt everything and pull it up out of there. Well, to fix it, I'm going to have to do that regardless, but I thought if it's the oil drain bolt, I can get into the access and maybe there's just something going on with it. But he's a mechanic, so I don't think it's that simple. But it is awful funny that they have gasket maker right around that bolt, and maybe he didn't even do much but check the oil and look in there and see that it was leaking. So pretty busy guy. I could see why he could easily overlook it, and maybe somebody else has the gasket maker in there. But let's dive into this, guys, and see if we can't get this fixed up. He said 4500. I got to pull the service manual up again, but it's a model number 4KYFA26100K, and 120 volt output at 33.3 amps. So we'll see if we can't get this fired up before we dive into it. And like I was saying, there's some oil dripping out. It's still dripping right there. Oil dripping out of the air filter area and a little bit out the exhaust, because I was trying to handle this thing myself. Not trying, I did handle it myself, but I should have had an extra set of hands for sure, because it is a bear. Let's see if it starts, guys. Uh-oh. Like I say, there's a lot of oil in the carb now, so let's try this. My makeshift gas tank here. Well, she don't want to run for you guys, but I might have to pull the carb. Yeah, well, I'm hoping it might not be too bad of a fix, guys, and we could get in there and see where this oil is coming from. But it appears to be in the region of the oil drain bolt. I'm looking in there and I can see oil right now, guys. So we're gonna dive into this thing and see if we can't figure this out, guys, and get this oil leak fixed. Hopefully there's parts available for this thing, and hopefully I don't have to pay for a service manual. A lot of times I pull them right offline, but sometimes you do have to end up paying for service manuals for certain make and models. So you can't luck out every time. All right, guys, let's dive on in. I love when you can figure something out that fast, because I done found the oil leak. So this is good news, guys. And I'm thinking I might not even have to pull this engine out like I was anticipating, because this side cover appears to be leaking, and we're gonna try to get you guys in there to get a look here. All right, I got you off the stand, guys. And if you look right in there off the side of the block, there's oil dripping down right there, lining right up where this side case bolts on. So guys, I believe this is an easy fix, which I'm very, very excited. I don't have to pull this thing, because it is, I mean, I'm gonna clean it up a little bit, but geez, the engine's not too bad. Thing looks good on the engine. No valve cover leaking or anything. These are good engines. But we'll clean it up a little bit. Maybe put them an air filter in too while we're at it. And because I did tilt it over, and I'll run it to probably run the generator for a little bit and make sure the it starts and runs good, because I got oil on it for sure now. But if I did get oil all over his air filter, we're gonna replace that for him. But guys, that's awesome. Easy fix. So yep. So it looks like this little side housing on the engine here. I'm just gonna pop that off. We'll see if we can't find a gasket for this thing. If not, if parts are hard to find, what we'll probably do, jump online here and see if we can't find that gasket. If not, I'll put some Honda Bond on it, slap it back together. It appears that we'll just have to take the exhaust off, and it might be about it. So I mean, I might be able to even get away with not taking the exhaust off all the way. But all right, let's jump in, guys. Check this out. Nice. Slop some gasket maker all over it. Maybe they thought that that's where it was coming from, and it just kept leaking, because obviously we found the leaking. Unless it was leaking here too. This is gonna be fun. So it looks like that gasket, maybe an oil drain bolt here, and that might be a pretty easy fix. As you can see, we're down here and we got all the gasket maker off, and we're gonna get this oil drain bolt off. The tricky part is gonna be draining it while it's up here on the bench. I guess I could lift up and slide a pan under it on the bench, but I don't think this was he probably popped that off and put the finger in there, and thinking this might have been it, and we'll put a new washer on there. Not in the worst shape in the world, so we might just put a new crush washer, put a new washer on there, and call it lovely. I won't tighten it down much, so if well, it's not gonna matter, but just don't forget it. I made that mistake many years ago of not tightening one down anyhow on a old 3-wheeler I worked on. I rebuilt the whole engine, and it lasted about 2 hours. Yep, live and learn. Vibrated out. My friend was riding it, and I heard them stop riding. I thought, what's going on? Yeah, locked her up. That should be plenty tight there. All right, guys, so we got that back on. We'll have to find them a bolt for that. They might have it, but find them a bolt for that. It'd be nice to even pull the engine off anyhow and clean it all up for him, but he would be paying a good extra chunk of change just for cleanup. So I'm going to do what I have to get in and do my work this guy's a mechanic himself, so I just think you just don't have the time to fool with this thing. And he knew I did small engine work, so that's why he kind of looked me up. But yeah, so far this is looking like a pretty easy job, pretty easy money. Definitely a bear. You want to have an extra set of hands for sure messing with these things. I'm gonna pull them all the way. Oh, why not? Why not? All right, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. It's gonna be a little bit challenging to get to. This one we'll be able to get. All right, guys. Those last 3 right down there are gonna be a little challenging. So we're gonna try to get in there with a socket. Real fun. All right, we can get to it. I'm not over the nut the whole way, but I'm applying a lot of pressure just to make sure we don't slip. It does feel like I'm pulling this stud as well. And guys, use just a dab of anti-seize on this, because you got, especially if you're into aluminum with steel, carbon steel style bolts, or studs and nuts. But all right, yep, the whole stud came out. Well, one side's got to be 13. I love how they do that. All right. Okay, boy, shouldn't be too bad. All right, we should have that out in the way in just a second, guys. Oh wow, look how far that goes. How about that, guys? Hopefully you can see that. Look how far down that goes in there. Don't tell me, I'm gonna have to take the whole exhaust off. Jeez, I cannot believe that goes in there that far. That is unreal. Yeah, jeez, the way they design stuff. So it looks like the muffler's coming off, guys. I got a T20 here. This is like, this muffler reminds me of like a daggone car muffler. All right, guys, just be advised when you take those last 2 bolts out, it's holding the weight of the whole generator up, and it just kind of shifted up, and the generator set down. It's no big deal. Just so you're aware. Let's see if we can get this Geometro muffler out of our way here. We'll leave that just how it is. I can get in here and work, so that's fine. And yeah, look how far that goes in there. Jeez. Alright. So we got the exhaust off. So now we're going to be able to access everything on the side case here and get these last 3 bolts out, and then we're going to get this oil leak fixed. Alright, 3 more bolts, guys. I'm going to have to get these by hand. I know you can probably only see my elbow there. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. Alright guys, so I'm not going to show the footage of me taking those 3 off. We'll get those off real quick. All right, guys, let's get a little rowdy here and see if we can't get a mess going here. Mechanical cardinal sin here, and that was just tapping in there lightly with a screwdriver. I don't know if anybody on this video has been in on the Banshee video. I'm sure some of you will be. But man, that guy on that cool head that was on that really bashed the snot out of that thing. I guess trying to get it off himself. And geez, I could have just threw something at him if I knew who he was. It just was horrible how much he backs that up. And those things aren't cheap. It's like there's a little washer here. That's why you want to take your good old time taking that off. And we're going to set that right back on there. And the gasket stuck perfect on the other end there. So we might get lucky, guys. There's a little oil flinger. All your bearings in the case here. And a little piece of gasket in there. Everything looks good. Everything looks pretty good in there. So, if you guys will look here, wasn't too bad. There's are those little like those studs that stick out. Excuse me for lack of better terms, but that's what kind of was holding me up. So just keep in mind, if you're working on a similar engine, that there'll be one on the north and south as this engine's laying down, as it would be running actually. But so yeah, so hopefully this this gasket comes off here really good. And I think it's going to, guys. That's awesome. We'll clean this up, and what I'm going to do is just put Honda Bond on it, guys. That stuff works great. I've used it for years. I've used Yamaha Bond, Honda Bond. They're two of my favorites. I know there's others out there for sure. But I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of that off there, guys, and we'll get ready to have this thing fixed tonight. Yeah, guys, this gasket came off really well. Just have to do a couple pieces there I gotta get off yet. And then there's a piece down here. So we'll get in there with a wire brush. A piece here too. Cam lobes, everything looked to be real in pretty decent shape. If you guys could see in there. I already inspected those. As far as I could see anyway. Not at the best view back there. Everything looks to be in really good shape actually. If you look at everything here. And again, I'm sorry guys, stuffy nose again. I feel like it's in all my videos. All right guys, so what I think I'm gonna do is just, I got some Honda Bond back there. We're gonna clean this up real good, and we're just gonna Honda Bond it. And that I do that to all my, you know, when I'm splitting cases and stuff, I do that anyway, so I think we'll be just fine. And I don't think, we're gonna call the customer up, make sure he's okay with it, and I'm sure he's gonna be. One, it'll save time and money. So, I mean, the gasket's probably only like, I don't know, I would say $5-8, but it shouldn't be much. But I've pulled engines before and did all kinds of labor just to throw in like a $6-7 gasket. It's kind of crazy, but hey, it's kind of is what it is. All right, guys, we had two sneaky little washers, just so you guys are aware. If you tear this off, one stuck in and one stuck right to the ball bearing there. We have it all cleaned up there. We'll have to clean this cleaned out before we do that. Got a little bit of dirt and debris down there. Not much, just a little bit, but we got it all cleaned up really good. That is what I am very avid about, and you should do it yourself every single time. Like make the seal surfaces 100% clean, and you'll never have a leak. Especially with Honda Bond, guys. I love that stuff. All right, so we're gonna get some Honda Bond lathered up on here, and let's set up a little bit and slap this together, and we should be good to go on this thing. And while we got this all apart right here, I will do the honor of cleaning this out for him. And one, you know, all that oil residue from where it was leaking here. We can get under there and clean all this out the best I can. That way we can tell if it's leaking again once we get this thing fired up. All right, guys, we're about ready to put this thing back together. I went ahead and put the Honda Bond on off camera. I got it on both mating surfaces. Very, very thin coats. You could probably get away with doing just on one side with not having a gasket, but right where these dowels and stuff are, kind of hard to get in there. Let's use like a Q-tip or something. So then that's why I like to do the double on both sides, just real thin coats, and then you know you're covered where your dowels go. But we cleaned everything up in there. So we're gonna go ahead and slap this together here. We have the shop heat on here to let it set up just a little bit here, and we'll slap this together here. I think they're probably the same exact washer. They look like they are. Sorry, my arms are in the way. It's kind of hard, guys. I can't really put you on the other side because I don't have any space, and I can't spin this thing around, so that kind of sucks too. So we're gonna stick that washer there. I'm gonna stick that washer there, and then I know I said there was only 2 washers here in prior clips, but there's another one too there. So 3 washers, guys, 2 small, 1 big. And just make sure you try it. The challenging part's going to be not to smudge up this gasket here. We don't want to do that. We want to get our dowels lined up here. Probably not lined up with the bottom. The camera's right in my way. All right. Come on. There, we got something going there. All right, we're gonna give it a couple light taps to melt here. Nothing hard. There goes my heater, guys. Nothing hard at all. Light taps to get it in place. Really be able to hit this better if this muffler's out of my way. Tap it. I can't really get to the bottom too well. But I'm just kind of using this end of the valve here. It's going in. Sorry about the heater, guys. I do apologize. Alright, that's on there. Went on pretty good. So now we're going to get couple bolts ran in here. I think these are all the same size bolts. I just stick them in like this to start. It looks about right. I think they might be all the same size. I'll have to take a look here. Alright guys, I should have did that a long time ago. So yeah, they are all the same size bolts. Get them all started in here. They are numbered, by the way, and I guess that's your torque pattern there. On here. And then one down here, guys. A little sneaky one there. Always start them by hand if you're using an impact. I like to use that habit if you get in a hurry and that might not be threaded in, and that's when problems occur. That's another one of those ask me how I know. I haven't done that in a long time, but anyhow. All right, we're going to tighten them down, guys. All right, I'm going to start tightening some of these down, the ones I can get to. I'm not even going to really snug them. I'm just going to save me a little time and get which ones I can here. Very lightly on the trigger. And that one's going to be a little steep, maybe. Oh, we got her. Let's see here. That one might be borderline too steep. Yeah, we're not doing that. All right, we got 3 on the bottom there. We'll get them here dialed in there. Move you guys over a little bit here. Get the light back in here too. All right. Well, my wife just snuck up on me. Man, it scared the crap out of me. I don't have many visitors out here much. And yeah, I told her, knock next time. Holy smokes. Anyhow, guys, taking this down. All right, so there is a torque sequence on here, and if you're working on them, it'll be pretty obvious. It's just in a crisscross pattern. Looks like 1 and straight across 2, 3, 4. You just start in and you work your way out, just like valve covers or anything like that. It's just how it comes across evenly to torque them down. So we're gonna go ahead and do that for you all here real quick. All right, guys, I got all this snugged up pretty well. 9 bolts, and like I say, they're numbered, so you can't mess that up. Crisscross pattern. Start in the middle, work your way out. Work your way out. It's real simple. So now it's time to jump on my phone, and we'll see what the torque specifications are on here. I know my digital torque wrench, the batteries were going dead, but it was really cold the other night, and my wife brought me a nice beverage out here to drink. So we're going to take 5 and look up these torque specs. We'll be back. All right, guys, I pulled up the service manual. The service manual calls for 12 foot-pounds. So we're going to go ahead and torque these bad boys down. And I'm going to save you all, or save me, a little bit of recording there. And I'm having a little bit of trouble with this. It's going to keep shutting off on me. I keep powering it back up and it's fine, but I got to go out and get some batteries for this handy dandy little thing here. I love this little thing ever since I got it. And that's it. There's 12 foot-pounds on there. It don't take much. Probably could have done it by hand. So more so for you all. But you know, if it had been a cylinder head or something like that, definitely I'd never skip torquing. But go with what the service manual says. Uh-oh, guys. So this one here, I may not even be able to get to unless I pull that muffler back a little bit. But we're gonna put this in a time lapse, guys, and finish this torquing these down. I think I might have showed this in my other videos, guys, but this is just a little AC Delco one. And I'll tell you a little backstory. Not that this is like a top of the line one, but it's not that bad. And I think I have a Harbor Freight here, and something's definitely wrong with it. And I can't remember what I was torquing down. Now I may have dropped it or whatever, but now it just gets used for like a breaker bar, because the torque functionality, it does not do it. I've tried it over and over again, and it does not work properly. So you do have to be careful with these cheap ass torque wrenches. For the most part, this thing lasted a while. I had it for years. I got it. It wasn't Harbor Freight, but it's just like a Harbor Freight. Anyhow, I got it years ago. Somewhere. It was a cheap. It may even have been online. It was a cheapo, but I got it and it worked great for a long time. So I don't know if I dropped it or what happened. But it just stopped working, and one day I was torquing the head down. I thought, man, yeah, it was something like 18 pounds or, you know, something like that, and I could just tell it was like something ain't right, and it just ain't. It's the functionality of the torque wrench wasn't working. So be careful with those. Don't slam them around. Don't use them as lug wrenches, because you're not supposed to. And they should last a while, but do be careful. That's why I like a handy dandy digital one. And even Harbor Freight, I think, sells these style, but I would like to in my future get a decent 3/8 digital torque wrench, because this is, you know, once it gets to spinning around, you kind of got to sneak in there. Yeah, you can set it and forget it and it'll just beep, but I always kind of like to look down, because you can see as it's getting close to your torque setting there, how close you're getting. So I kind of like that too. So I thought I'd throw that in there, guys. Well, guys, it's going to be it for the night. I'll come back out here in the morning. We will clean all this up. I'm going to let this Honda Bond set. Let it dry good. I like giving it, you can use it faster than you think, but I like to give it 24 hours at least, and you know you're good. But we're gonna come back in here. We'll get all this cleaned up in here a little bit. It's not gonna be perfect, but we're gonna wipe it down that way when we're running the machine. We can tell if it's still leaking from another area of this engine. Fingers crossed it's not, but we saw it leaking right there. So what's the chances it has multiple leaks? It's a pretty good engine made by Cummins. It doesn't seem to have oil leaks everywhere. It's just that one leak. So all right, guys. Back at it this morning here, and we're gonna get this exhaust put on here. Use a little bit of anti-seize, a lot of anti-seize. Don't need that much. It's freezing cold out here, guys. Cold start this morning here. But, use some of this for the other stud as well. All right, we got our bolts anti-seized up. We'll go ahead and get this exhaust mounted up here. Let me see, make sure you guys are in a little bit better view here. All right, we've got everything pretty much lined up here. It was a fight, so I had to prop it up a little bit on something there, but just make sure your grommets and everything are set in there. And I did lose my exhaust gasket, so can't forget to put that back in there or it will leak. But yeah, setting in on those rubber grommets. They're like that just for vibration purposes. But we're going to get the exhaust bolted up, finished bolted up here, and we'll be back. Looking pretty good, other than just getting some oil in this thing. So we're going to get oil put in this thing, and we're going to do the first fire up here after fixing this thing, and just make sure there's no oil leaks, and just observe it running for a little bit. It should be pretty obvious if we're dripping oil down into our bottom pan here, because I did clean it out pretty decent. So alright guys, we're going to double check it one more time for oil leaks. I did just run it. I did an oil top off just to make sure we were good there. So we'll fire this thing back up, and we're going to do one more scan for leaks. So far so good. So let's see what happens here, guys. I think I'm getting a little low on fuel, but this should be plenty. right, guys, good deal. We solved their issue. It's a pretty easy fix, wasn't too bad. I thought I was going to have to pull the whole engine off there, and yeah, so we didn't have to go that route, so good luck out there. So I think he's going to be happy that it wasn't like a crazy amount of labor, but we're just going to double check our oil. We've already checked it a few times, but I like to be avid with that. But anyhow, guys, we fixed this Onan 4,000 watt RV generator. Just a simple little oil leak. I hope you enjoyed the content, guys. If you haven't already, do me a favor and smash that subscribe button. Give us a like, leave a comment, and if you do, thanks. We do appreciate you helping out the channel here. And thanks for watching Digging Deep. Until next time, guys.